We're the voices of experiencers,
because we are the experiencers.
and we are the experiences with extraterrestrials.
I can tell you that through my research that this is not the first time I've heard this. That there's been claims that, the Nazis had UFOs. They've been flying around our solar system. And they've been abducting people for programs. This is nothing that's new. So I have seen it and heard it before. That they have sacred base on the moon. What he's talking about is just not unique to him. I've read it and seen it and heard it from other places.
It's time for disclosure. It's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformations.
We are the voices of change. And we are about evolution on a profound level, living life without fear, becoming the bridge between two different realities.
What he's saying to you, is it a bleed through from another life or another time? It's hard for me to get my mind around.
Profound integration is coming.
Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact.
Okay, with an understanding, if anyone out there isn't familiar with the concept, many claim that they were conscripted into the military to do spacefaring projects for the military, and they're there for a 20-year service term, and then they get put back in time at the moment that they departed. I'm not here to say how that works. That's a topic that's not necessarily in my lane, but that's the general gist of it. They serve for 20 years and then they come back to the point where they were taken.
Just who are extraterrestrials?
It's just absolutely breaking for him, because no matter who or what has put him in this position, it's not good. It's not good. And where his mind and heart has to be after all of this is not a good place. I find myself sitting here saying, please give him healing.
Let's find out with the Voices of Contact.
He had missing time as a child. What was happening?
He was not home.
If he wasn't home, where was he?
He was taken.
Who was he taken by?
Negative humans.
Negative humans?
Yes.
Why was he taken by the negative humans?
They need slaves. They need control. They need workers. They don't pay. They use. They take, they use.
When he was a boy and they would take him, what would they take him for?
Teach him their ways.
Like teaching him how to We are the voices of experiencers, because we are the experiencers. It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformation. We are the voices of change. And we are about evolution on a profound level, living life without fear, becoming the bridge between two different realities. Profound evolution is here. Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary. I'm a channeler and psychic medium, a hypnosis regressionist for ET experiencers, and I work with MUFON doing regression work. I also work with PTSD experiencers, paranormal experiencers, as well as victims of crimes to assist them with recall. And I look forward to another amazing show with our panel of experiencers. I want to thank you guys for being here. You don't realize just how much of an impact you actually have on those who are watching tonight. First, we have Michael Carter, and he is a longtime UFO contactee, the author of Alien Scriptures, Extraterrestrials, and the Holy Bible. And is also a regular consultant on the History Channel's Ancient Aliens series, as well as being featured in several UFO documentaries. Next, we have Bill Konkoleski, and he has been the state director of the Michigan chapter of MUFON since 2004. Besides also writing 2 books of his own personal contact experiences, he's contributed to numerous other UFO related books and television productions. Last but not least, we have Deb and RJ DeRoos. They're authors, paranormal and UFO researchers. They're experiencers themselves and founders of the Michigan UFO Contact. And they're also owners and managers of the Mystical Awakenings Radio and Mystical Awakenings Metaphysical Store in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Great to have you here.
Hi, everybody. So good to be
How's
here.
everybody doing tonight?
Hey.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Better.
All right, so let me tell you a little bit about what this show is all about. I have worked with many ET experiencers through regression work to help them find a better understanding of the contact that they've had. My clients are amazing, and they've agreed to allow me to use the regressions on this show. So we have the regressions, and we have the amazing panelists that will weigh in with their own experiences as well as the experience that's in the regression. So I love this because not only does it help us learn more about what's happening out there, but also it gives the person that's being regressed a better understanding on their experience. So literally, it's a win-win, right? All right, so to give a little bit of background on this regression, I worked with a gentleman, and when we do the regression, he actually regressed to being a slave soldier for both a human and like extraterrestrial. As we move through the experience, you're going to see it unfold to him being a part of the program as well as the other experiences that he had. So with that being said, let's play the first clip. And in the first clip, it's really reflecting on his initial take of being the soldier and what he's doing as a slave soldier. So give me one moment.
We're going down and take out an enemy village.
So when you're at the enemy village, can you describe what they look like for me?
They have a head like an ant, tall, 6 legs, a big bottom shape, like bugs have a word thorax. And they don't like us there.
Why don't they like you there?
We take things and kill their kind. They're in the way.
How are they in the way?
They don't like what we're doing there on their planet.
When you say on their planet, are you from this planet?
No.
What planet are you from?
Earth.
You're from the planet Earth?
Yeah.
And then why did you come to their planet?
We're taking and making use of ancient technology.
Where did the ancient technology come from?
Others.
What others?
They say other more ancient people were there. Left their technology.
So technology that was left from ancient cultures.
But
And what about your upper body? What are you wearing on your arms and your chest?
it's just a dark blue.
Does it have any writing on it?
No.
Are you carrying anything with you?
Yes.
What are you carrying?
A rifle. Their rifle.
So it's a rifle from the enemy?
No.
Who do you mean then when you say their rifle?
These people. These people that brought me here.
Who are they? I know because of the accent, he's a little bit hard to understand. So really, he was just speaking of, going into an enemy camp, and they don't like him being there because they're literally there to take over because they want their technology. They're searching for ancient technology and different ways to use them to see how they use that technology. And I tried to get him to describe what he's wearing, and the only thing I could really get at was like a one-piece suit. And I was hoping to see if he had like a name tag, fingers crossed that maybe I would be able to get some words of what the name tag said. And he was carrying a rifle, but it was the rifle of whoever he's there for.
Well, it certainly sounds like what we do if we got let out into the galaxy.
Agreed.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. At this stage of our lives, and I think that's the message that they're trying to get across. If you want to get out there, then you need to put your You put your weapons down.
Yeah, but that brings up a question. When is this supposed to be happening? In the future, in another dimension, or has it already happened?
For my take, this is he regressed, and so this was actually experiences that he had been having. I do know a little bit of background. He is a veteran, and so I almost wondered if while he was a veteran, he was also when he would have missing time. This is what he was doing, as well as being a veteran, because we talked about a lot of different experiences he had while he was in the military.
Is he at 20 and back? Do you know?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, so then that takes all sorts of time off the table. He could be regressed into something that technically happened in our future, I guess, if you buy into that phenomena. With an understanding, if anyone out there isn't familiar with the concept, many claim that they were conscripted into the military to do spacefaring
Yes.
projects for the military, and they're there for a 20-year service term, and then they get put back in time at the moment that they departed. Um, I'm not here to say how that works. That's a topic that's not necessarily in my lane, but that's the general gist of it. They serve for 20 years and then they come back to the point where they were taken. And so, if this is what he's describing, then it's possible it's something that happened even in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with the 20 and back, all I can do is tell the audience that they need to do some research on it. There's a lot of controversy about it. There's a lot of things about it, but it's been something that's been coming up for quite a few years now. And a lot of people, like Bill said, claim that they've been in it. So I'm not here to say yes or no about it, but like you said, Bill, supposedly they're taken into the future. So these things are going to happen later on. So now we have to understand that is time travel possible? According to a lot of research, yeah, beings have that capability. I'm sure it's plausible. My line of thinking is if you think about it, it's probably been done. So
Yeah, I would like to know where. I mean, you asked him where are you? It didn't sound like he's on Earth. He's where they are, but didn't really say where this is taking place. So,
well,
I just want to know more.
Getting back to the 20 and back thing, the thing about it is when you come back, things start to come back to you slowly. Some people it doesn't come back to. So your memory has to be jogged, and it's just some people just remember more than others, according to the witnesses.
So he may not know where. Is that?
That's true.
What you're saying?
Yeah.
Very interesting, and very interesting to me that somewhere else he would be carrying a rifle. I mean, my hope would be that no other planet would do that. But yeah. Now I want to hear more because it's very intriguing.
Well, hopefully he can get more advanced technology than a rifle. Whatever, right.
And if they're
whatever they're doing, he needs to have something a little more
right
up to date than just a rifle. I mean, they're looking for exotic technology. A rifle is not that. I mean, he could be killed.
Right.
It's like carrying a knife to a slingshot. So hopefully he can find them. Maybe in the next segment he finds a little better weapon.
Well, according to these people,
I'm being mean. Meow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they've been in the program. They say there's kind of reconnaissance. You have to go in as looking and being like them and using what they have and using their technology to get to where.
But if they're after the higher technology, I guess I'm kind of sounding like, saying the same thing as Michael. Why in the hell is he carrying a rifle?
I mean, maybe a stun. I mean, what do they use on the shows? Just something
Yeah.
with a rifle. My God,
hmm
he's
But
gonna
he
get hurt.
does say,
He's gonna
I
get
think,
hurt, man.
I believe Mary asked if it was, did you ask if it was his? And he said it's their rifle.
Yeah, so I think for him it could have been a different type of weapon, but the way he connects with it,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's calling. I know. I'm
rifle,
teasing. Yeah,
because he did say that it
sounds
was theirs that he
Yeah.
was using.
Okay.
that's
So
probably
it might be totally different than
Yeah.
an earthly rifle.
It's not a phaser. I mean, it's a phaser like yeah.
Okay.
I want a phaser light. Gosh.
Just set it to stun.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one talks a little bit more about the program that he's a part of, kind of the species that are part of the program and what their whole intention is by going to these other planets. So give me one moment here.
They're not good people.
Who are they?
Other soldiers, other kind of soldiers.
Can you describe what they look like for me?
Like,
They look human?
they human just look German. Like pictures of old pictures of German Gestapo, SS people, hats, old style hat, dark suit,
Why did they bring you here to this planet?
black sun patch, metal. Why?
Yeah, why would they bring you to this planet?
Work for them.
How is it you work for them?
Like a slave soldier.
How did you become a slave soldier?
They took me when I was younger, and I do this for a while, and then I stop, and then I do this for a while, and then I stop.
So this has been going on for a while?
Yes.
So he describes the main people that have taken him to be like a German type people, and then along with the other
Gestapo uniform.
Yeah, and then he talks about how it all kind of started actually when he was a little boy, and they would take him and they would train him. He would do it for a while, and then he'd stop for a while, and then he would do it again for a little while, and then it was kind of a back and forth thing. From my understanding lately, from talking to him, this no longer happens. But I guess who's to say if he truly remembers that or not. But that's a little bit more of the background if it was hard for you to hear.
I guess a big question I have is, when he came to you for regression, did he come with part of the story already, or was all of this maybe new to him upon being regressed? Like what did he come to you with that he wanted to explore?
He did want to explore what happened when he was a soldier, experiences that he had, because he had little bits and pieces when he was actually serving of other things that happened. And so he kind of wanted to explore what was actually happening while he was serving, because a lot of these experiences that he was remembering were while he was in the military. And so that pulled out. And like I said, throughout the regression, other experiences pulled out where he connected with an aquatic being. And then he realized that wasn't bad. And there was another being he connected with that he realized that wasn't a bad experience too. So I think part of that regression was, okay, this was a bad experience, but realizing that not all of it was bad. But initially, it was more just connecting with some of the things he remembered during his military service.
Yeah. So did he remember?
Is he? I'm sorry, Deb. Go on.
I'm just wondering if he remembered that he was also military, basically somewhere else, or was that?
I'm thinking when we did the regression, that's when he started picking up on the slave soldier part.
Okay.
Is he a World War II vet?
No,
He's not.
No.
What is he a veteran of? Vietnam?
Is
I
he a
wouldn't say,
veteran of a war, or was he just
yeah.
in service?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the Vietnam War, one of the more recent ones. It would be my
Like
take on it. I
Iraq.
didn't ask specifically
Yeah.
which one.
Well, we always got a war for you, so he could, yeah.
Mm.
Take a pick. Afghanistan. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a bleed through from real time to the regression time, if you will. It's hard to decipher, at least for me, is this some unresolved trauma from you serving? And then what he's saying to you, is it a bleed through from another life or another time? It's hard for me to get my mind around it.
So to ask a question like that, just to be fair to this individual, this isn't a question we've asked of the other experiencers to date, whether what they're expressing to us is bleed through from childhood memories. I do agree that this does fit very nicely with his normal life history, and you could sort of see the parallels there. But I don't know if it should be necessarily discounted because he displayed a particular skill set. He might have been valued for that skill set. And I don't know. We know so little about him or his experiences, and this is definitely a different one, I think. And I think you have to go at it with a very aggressively open mind to try to hear as much as possible before wondering, where he's getting his information.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you that through my research that this is not the first time I've heard this. That there's been claims that, the Nazis had UFOs. They've been flying around our solar system, and they've been abducting people for programs. I mean, this is nothing that's new. So I have seen it and heard it before. That they have secret base on the moon. So I mean, what he's talking about is just not unique to him. I've read it and seen it and heard it from other places.
Mm-hmm. So this is hearing him this time really got me in the heart, and you guys know how I am with that. I was feeling his emotions, some sadness, some anger over, being used and being taken, and to be put into the military. I don't know if he was drafted or if he volunteered. We don't know that, but to be there and know that you have to do whatever the government tells you to do, because that's what you do there. Mm. You follow their rules. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't like it and ethically it doesn't suit you, you're going to do it. And so in other time when he had missing time as well, he was being taken and kind of and used, literally used in the same way. So, I mean, that would cause anybody some issues.
Yeah, but he said he was taken when he was young. So,
well, he was in the military when he was young.
Yeah, I don't know if but getting back to this 20 and back, Bill. Again, this is the narrative. You're taken as a young kid, and 20 years in the system, and you're brought back to when you were a young kid again. So that's supposedly the program, but I'm not an expert on it, but it sounds like that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and for me, it makes me kind of wonder, is this a common thing where they take people who are serving in the military to do this kind of work?
Yeah, so I think I was saying before, I've been.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know when we tapped into the subconscious and I asked the subconscious why he went through this experience or he was shown this experience. And the answer was to allow him to let go of the guilt that he had been carrying, not only from, his military service, but being in service as a slave. And that's why he was having physical ailments, because he was carrying this guilt around that it was time to release. And I connect with the thing that RJ says about the Germans, because one of the first experiences I had when I meditated on it, that's what they showed me, was the Nazis and things all over landing and some kind of conspiracy theory and like experiments going on, experiments that have gone wrong, and they manipulate those experiences. I don't know if that's true. I just know what the experience I had and what the message was for me. So it's an interesting point. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so for this next clip, it talks about his purpose there on the planet as the slave soldier. Okay.
Terminate whoever is necessary.
So when we're talking about the planet that you were on and the going to the village of the enemy, what were you there for?
We were there to kill.
Why were you there to kill?
They would not work with us. They would not work for them.
They wouldn't become slaves?
Yeah.
So what happens to the planet after the enemy is taken out?
It's not my job. Others come.
So as a slave, is there a name for this group that you're slaves for?
Montauk.
What's the name?
Montauk. Montauk.
Okay. So what happens next?
Another team comes in. We stand down and go back to an area to rest.
What's the other team that comes in?
More slaves. They usually survey, catalog, and organize what's useful.
When you talk about the catalog and survey, what is it they're cataloging and surveying?
Whatever is in the village.
So it's like whatever they've come to take.
Whatever's there becomes ours.
What is it they take the most of?
Technology.
Why is the technology important?
To see if we know what it is or not. If it's something we have or not. Is it better than ours?
So they're looking for advanced technology?
Yeah.
So the things that keep you as a slave, are they human or are they extraterrestrial?
Humans, but there are others there too.
So it's a mixture?
Yes. Humans, Germans, reptiles, grays, some other like a human, not human.
Okay. So just a little bit of background. He talked about how when his part is done, the purpose that there is a takeover because the beings of the planet won't agree to be slaves. And when their part is done, another group of slaves comes in to catalog everything. And then when I asked what other kind of beings are there that come through after that, he spoke with the Germans and Greys and reptilians and different kind of beings.
So first of all, let me really jump in with this. So what was he calling Montauk?
I think that's what the program was. When I asked what the name of the program was. And I couldn't understand if he was saying Mondog or trying to say Moondog. I'm not sure.
So Montauk is in New York. It's on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And there's a big conspiracy theory over mind control experiments being done there, time travel experiments. And most famously, it's associated with the Philadelphia experiment.
The experiment, yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, the Nazis, it was no secret that they were searching all the time for secret ancient technology, right? I mean, and they had obviously, if this is going on, that they're not changing, they're looking for it out here, out in the universe. So they were definitely, that's what they wanted to find, is ancient technology that was advanced technology.
And so there's this. He's talking about this collaboration between humans and other star races.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds very diabolical.
It doesn't sound good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's depressing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's.
I'm not going to sleep well tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, I'm using your famous words, Reverend, that everything's not kumbaya, right?
Yeah.
And
well, especially this.
yeah, right. So this is, I mean, I guess, you know, as we, you know, we think about extraterrestrial life out there, that it's all nice and everything's cool. It apparently it's not. So
Yeah.
there's some other stuff going on too.
And there's no end to this. I mean, the only end out, you know, I mean, what is it, after 20 years? But, you know, 20 years is a long time to try to stay alive.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. This is really a heavy one, and kind of really messes with my mind, the whole government conspiracy theory, all of the stuff around this. And you know, I have to wonder how much of this is human planted or other being planted. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody but me, but
no, it makes sense. I hear what you're saying.
You know, and I'm not saying everything out there is good. There's definitely a balance. There's light and dark. There's good and bad. But I do believe that the light has the upper hand. So, you know, even hearing things like this, and, you know, I think one of his first lines was, they're there to terminate anybody that's in your way. That shows, or says to my heart, that these are lower vibrating beings. These are not, you know, most of us don't have contact with them. And I'm trying really hard to not piss anybody off. So I'm being careful what I'm saying, but
well, according to some of the 20 and back people, they have technology that if you get an arm shot off, they can regrow it back. They have this technology that you were talking about, surviving the 20 years, Michael. I guess there's technology out there that we don't have here that can take care of those kind of things. So yeah, they've even said that some people have said they've passed away and died, and they brought them back. So I don't know. I just want to get that out there. That
sounds like that Tom Cruise movie where he kept dying and coming back. And
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that's out there. That information's out there from some people.
Yeah, it is. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of information. How much of it is fact?
We don't know.
How much isn't?
Yeah,
we don't know.
We don't know.
You know, everybody has a theory. So,
but
you know,
we have to give people a benefit of the doubt. So
right. Yeah. And I'm not, you know, I'm not dissing what he's going through. My heart's just absolutely breaking for him, because no matter who or what has put him in this position, it's not good. It's not good. And where his mind and heart has to be after all of this is not a good place. You know, I mean, I find myself sitting here saying, please give him healing for what he's been through. And, you know, we all know like Preston Dennett put out a book of 300 different healings that were done by ETs. It happens daily. I've had my own, and many of us have. So, it's harder for me to look at this type and be comfortable with it. But we have this too, so it's balance, I guess.
I'm curious, Barry. Is he able to talk about this other than being regressed?
He does, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so for this next clip coming up, this one correlates going back to when he was taken as a 10-year-old boy and the experiences from that point on that have led up to him being a slave soldier. Okay, so give me one moment for that one. When he had missing time as a child, what was happening?
He was not home.
If he wasn't home, where was he?
He was taken.
Who was he taken by?
Negative humans.
Negative humans?
Yes.
Why was he taken by the negative humans?
They need slaves. They need control. They need workers. They don't pay. They use. They take, they use.
When he was a boy and they would take him, what would they take him for?
Teach him their ways.
Like teaching him how to be a soldier?
Yes, how to use things.
This reminds me that several people come up missing every year all over the planet. I guess we can't ignore that, and we never hear from them again, right? So that's made me think of that. So very disturbing.
Yeah, it's not much you can say. I mean, it's just like, wow. And he calls them the negative humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really kind of stuck on that whole negative human is. So, what are we dealing with here?
And they took him at 10 years old. Yeah. What kind of skill set would he have at 10 years old?
Right.
It sounds like they took him for training.
To be a warrior like that.
Yeah, the training, yeah.
Because it sounds like he's a mercenary too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure, certain people are more, would be better. We all have our own skills and
but at 10 years old, you can be taught anything, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what he said was that they were taking him at that young of an age to start to train him and show them their ways and what they're doing and how they're doing it and why.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cruel. It's cruel.
If that did happen the way he says, and interesting that he ultimately went into the military willingly.
Yeah, that's
Their
unless
military.
Yeah, unless he was just conditioned so much that that's what he knew. I don't know.
I mean, they can definitely, I think, maybe to a point, guide our life if someone's having that many experiences and that's what he's being prepped for. Yeah.
Well, it also goes to show, at least to me too, why he has this negative, or he had this negative thing. There's nothing good comes of this.
Right.
It's like someone saying, it's like a hardened war veteran talking to people who are in the anti-war movement. You don't know what I've seen. You don't know what this is like. And you're sitting here talking about peace and kumbaya and let's all get along. life is not like that. It's that kind of dynamic for me.
Right.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's definitely tugging at my heart. And, I just can't imagine being set up for something like what he's been through.
Oh my goodness.
From 10 years old and possibly even earlier in his life. What would that do to a person?
And it happens here on Earth. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was, even though I'm kind of like, boy, 10 years old, but you see it in the Middle East. You see it in parts of Africa where, they've been taught generations, this is what the West has done. And, they got the little hand grenades and AK-47s, and they know how to use them.
Right.
Yeah. True.
Right.
They know how to use them.
Doesn't make it all right.
No.
No. Will you be working more with this person, Mary?
Yes. Yep. We have another regression scheduled within a week
Good.
to explore some different things. So
Right.
yep, I think
Well,
that'll
the
be very
next-
beneficial.
Yeah. Next time you talk to him, ask him if it's okay if some of us send him healing and love.
All right. Yes, we'll do that. I'm sure he would receive it. Definitely. So this last one, just because I chose to end it on more of a positive note, the last clip is all about where he goes when he astral travels and meeting his spirit guide, and actually who his spirit guide is, and on a spiritual being level. So give me one moment. Where does he go when he astral travels?
He meets another,
And who is it that he meets?
the one he calls Balak and more.
Is this like a spirit guide?
To him,
What is he other than a spirit guide then?
level 8 density,
What is a
Totally.
level 8?
tall white being, slant eyes, white hair, from Alteron.
So he's tall white being. He's got those eyes that we had that the first person was talking about. It reminds me of the tall whites. What's his name? The serviceman who was in. His last name is Hall or whatever.
That hospitality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was working with the tall
Yeah.
whites, and he was in the military.
Mhm.
And he said some of them could be very crotchety. That's my word, not his. Yeah.
They could be
Very
what? I'm
crotchety.
sorry.
They could be. They were
Crotchety.
grumpy.
Okay.
I was reading one or two of his books, and I was like, man, you can keep that, because they were. I mean, I don't even want to be around a grumpy human being. Now I'm going to be around a grumpy tall white. I don't think so.
Right. I'll tell you, level 8.
What do you say?
That's
Level 8
pretty high up there.
density?
Yeah, that's pretty high up there.
Is that a security clearance or?
No, that's a different. That's a density that that you
Like
live
a
in.
vibration, a frequency?
Yeah, your vibration is frequency. And you don't even need a body in level 8.
That sounds like
Yeah.
It sounds like that.
But,
You're
yeah,
just like pure energy. You're just ooh.
Yeah. So level 8's pretty high up there.
It would be a lot higher being, and I would assume, if this is a guide for him, a more loving, less violent being, and probably exactly what he needs.
A healing being, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. So the tall white is his spirit guide?
Yes.
Or are they two separate beings? Okay.
And I think the first time
Yeah.
he had experience with this being was when he was in the military. And if I remember through the regression, he had some kind of leave, but he went camping that was close to base, but away from everybody else. And when he was camping, he was approached by a wolf, and the wolf stayed there for a while and stared at him. And over time, he discovered that the wolf was actually this being that connects and communicates with him. And I think that he said the name was Balak. But now this being is his spirit guide through whatever he needs and when he needs them.
Yeah, often they'll show themselves in a form that you can handle. So it could be an animal.
Yeah. And even the wolf is a protector. So that would make sense that it would show as a wolf. But yeah, I have never really heard of a tall white being a spirit guide, but that's cool.
Well, I mean,
Probably.
when he said tall white, maybe like you said, Michael, it could be just an energy, a tall energy thing that, you know, some people have described as angels. Just a light.
Yeah, but they're all tall white. Actually,
there are tall
sometimes
whites.
they look
exactly.
kind of. Sometimes people call them
Blonde
Nordic.
hair and,
There's interchangeable, but they have the eyes too.
right.
Some of them look like I've seen they look like they have the eyes of a gray, but they're all blonde and not even blonde, just like white and tall.
Yeah, and it sounded like that's what he was describing. So, I mean, to me, that's a relief to know that he will purposely astral travel to this being where he feels safe and loved and protected.
It was Charles Hall did the Millennial
Charles Hall, thank
Hospitality.
you. Yes.
now, what was that? He tell me that story again about Charles Hall.
Charles Hall was a serviceman who he wrote several books about his working with grays and tall whites out in the desert in New Mexico, I believe it was, around that area, Arizona, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And he was saying, because he was talking about someone that had families, especially the tall whites. The grays did as well, and how he got along with their kids. And one time he did something he thought he was doing. I forgot. He was interacting with one of the kids, and one of the tall whites, I guess it was the dad, was going to kill him because he didn't like the way he was. I mean, surely we can communicate on a higher level than that, but yeah.
Right.
But in the way he described just this family, they were very grumpy is the word I use, but you had to walk on eggshells around them, and they probably could have killed them because the government was taking care of them. This is your part of the desert here, and so this guy is expendable. Charles Hall, he's not an officer; he's an enlisted man. It was fascinating. I would recommend some of the books. I was just fascinated because, again, we don't think of them, not all of them, and I say them, I'm talking, but they have children. A lot of them have families, they have concerns, and we don't, sometimes we think they're so other that we don't take that into account.
Right.
Well, all right. Well, that's all we have for tonight's show.
So I think we gave them a mouthful.
Yeah, we did. There's going to be a lot to think about, a lot to talk about.
I know I'm going to have to count some sheep later. To get to bed. Yeah, this kind of stuff bothers me because I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah,
it happens, but I mean, this guy is. Whew.
Yeah, and we've done a few of these, and I have to admit,
Poor
this
guy
is
he's in the trenches,
more uncomfortable
in his mind.
Yeah.
Well, I truly hope that you're able to get some sleep tonight.
I will.
Okay.
I'll be thinking about this though, because we're going to hear more.
We all will.
But a huge thanks to the audience for tuning in and watching. Yes. Thanks to the gentleman that allowed me to share the regression. It is a big deal. It is a lot to share. And I think this is a controversial topic. So to share that and get it out there is a good thing. And
we tackle it all here. We tackle it all here on Voices of Contact.
Damn straight you do.
We tackle it all. It was a good show.
All right, you guys have a good night.
All right, bye everybody. Thank you so much. Yep.
We're the voices of experiencers,
because we are the experiencers.
and we are the experiences with extraterrestrials.
I can tell you that through my research that this is not the first time I've heard this. That there's been claims that, the Nazis had UFOs. They've been flying around our solar system. And they've been abducting people for programs. This is nothing that's new. So I have seen it and heard it before. That they have secret base on the moon. What he's talking about is just not unique to him. I've read it and seen it and heard it from other places.
It's time for disclosure. It's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformations.
We are the voices of change. And we are about evolution on a profound level, living life without fear, becoming the bridge between two different realities.
What he's saying to you, is it a bleed through from another life or another time? It's hard for me to get my mind around it.
Profound integration is coming.
Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact.
Okay, with an understanding, if anyone out there isn't familiar with the concept, many claim that they were conscripted into the military to do spacefaring projects for the military, and they're there for a 20-year service term, and then they get put back in time at the moment that they departed. I'm not here to say how that works. That's a topic that's not necessarily in my lane, but that's the general gist of it. They serve for 20 years and then they come back to the point where they were taken.
Just who are extraterrestrials?
It's just absolutely breaking for him, because no matter who or what has put him in this position, it's not good. It's not good. And where his mind and heart has to be after all of this is not a good place. I find myself sitting here saying, please give him healing.
Let's find out with the Voices of Contact.
He had missing time as a child. What was happening?
He was not home.
If he wasn't home, where was he?
He was taken.
Who was he taken by?
Negative humans.
Negative humans?
Yes.
Why was he taken by the negative humans?
They need slaves. They need control. They need workers. They don't pay. They use. They take, they use.
When he was a boy and they would take him, what would they take him for?
Teach him their ways.
Like teaching him how to